achieves complete success in life. Even partial fulfillment is attained by but a few. Unfulfillment, the Mahabharata tells us again and again, is the normal condition of man. To some extent, each major figure in Mahabharata is defeated by life, but none so completely as Karna. Thus go the opening lines on the chapter on Karna in Yuganta. Karna was born to Kunti, the mother of Pandavas, but before her marriage, as a result of a mantra given to her by a sage whom she served diligently as a girl. So he was discarded by Kunti to avoid a scandal by putting him in a basket with a lot of gold and ornaments and then floating it in a river. He was picked up by one Suta, or a class of people who were tenders of horses, charioteers. Karna was brought up as a Suta, but was told clearly by his foster parents that he was not their son, and they merely found him in a basket in the river. With all the gold and the ornaments and all that accompanied him in the basket, his foster parents were quite sure that he was from a very well-to-do family, but did not know which one. So he grew up with an identity crisis, asking all the time, "Who am I?" He spent more time learning the martial arts such as wielding weapons than in learning about horses and chariots. Due to his being perceived as a Suta, however, no one was prepared to formally teach him any martial skills, and he learned them all mostly by himself. To his credit, he became one of the foremost archers in the kingdom. He spent his later youth among the Kauravas, especially with Duryodhana, the eldest of them, and had a sense of loyalty to him due to his having rescued him from a humiliation. He swore eternal friendship to him and did indeed stick with him through thick and thin. In the process, he also shared with Kauravas a hatred for Pandavas. He became one of the foremost archers and learned use of other weapons as well, and due to the absence of a formal education, never learnt the Kshatriya values. This was at the heart of his behavior in many instances where at times we see him as a person with great generosity, for which he became famous, and at times extreme meanness. For example, he went uninvited for the marriage of Draupadi, still was allowed to perform the test which was required from everyone to qualify, failed and felt humiliated, and nursed grievance against Arjuna, the top Pandava archer, who made the test and won Draupadi. Karna was the one who suggested the stripping of Draupadi before the beginning of the war, when Bhishma and Drona, the venerable teacher of Pandavas and Kauravas, before the beginning of the war, when Bhishma and Drona, the venerable teacher of Pandavas and Kauravas, opined that he lacked the qualities to lead the army, he felt again terribly offended and set out for the first 10 days of the war when Bhishma was in command. He was one of the warriors who killed the valiant boy Abhimanyu, Arjuna's son, when he was down on the ground and effectively had lost all his weapons. And yet Karna reminded Arjuna of the dharma not to kill him when he himself was of the chariot. On the other hand, when Indra, the king of gods, came to him in the form of a Brahmin begging for his divine armor and earrings, he promptly gave them away, thus seriously weakening himself and, in the process, the Kauravas' side. When requested by Kunti to switch sides after revealing to him that he was her first son, he refused to do so. A great thing. He promised her also that he would not kill any of the Pandava brothers except Arjuna, his arch rival. And he kept that promise, even when he had opportunities to kill some of the others. Thus, he spent his life with a constant quest for knowing who he was. This resulted in his being a person searching for his identity, values, and even codes of conduct. He did not know who he was. Karna had indeed a huge ego that made him feel entitled to become the general of the Kaurava army, but could not due to the points raised by Bhishma and Drona. But when he did get a chance to become the general on the 16th day of the battle, he showed his inadequacy as a leader. Instead of devising a strategy to win the war, he was now the general, he made it a personal issue to settle scores with Arjuna. In the process, in the decisive battle, he got killed. Karna was an immensely talented person, kept no doubt back by the caste system. He valiantly advanced his own career against those limitations. He was certainly one of the most formidable warriors on the Kauravas' side, but his life was unfulfilled because he could not develop a value system that could effectively supplement his immense skills. That is why education has to impart not only skills but values also. The discretion as to when and how to apply the skills. Karna's character also brings out the need to understand what one can change and what one cannot. Despite his valiant efforts and formidable skills, he was never accepted as a Kshatriya by even the Kauravas. It was certainly his misfortune that he was discarded by Kunti just when he was born, and thus was deprived of the kingdom of Hastinapura. It was also his lot that Kunti never acknowledged him till just before the war, when it was too late. But having a clear sense of identity is still important for a leader to make effective use of his or her skills.